This is what we call a long story short metaphor in the making. Rookie mistake. My dads, Jason, 38, and Pete, 37 at the time, adopted me when I was 6 years old, and they kept scaring me with these strange actions.
They kept the basement door sealed shut, with 4 different locks, and always told me to never ever go down there no matter what I hear or see.
When I was maybe around 8 years old, I heard what sounded like screaming and crying coming from the basement, and it was unlocked. I got scared and thought it was one of my parents, needing help, so I went to rush down, but they were both behind me, and grabbed me as soon as I put my hand on the doorknob. They yelled at me, and told me to never go down there, or even attempt to go down there, ever again, and, from there on, I didn't. I always wanted to know what they could possibly be hiding, so I searched their laptop, and saw weird creepy stuff, but I never figured out what it was. 3 years later, around 2:30 a.m., I could hear the screaming again. It woke me up, 'cause it was so loud. I felt really uneasy, and thought of going to sleep with my dads, in hopes that it will all settle down, or will somehow disappear, but they weren't there. Their bed was a huge mess, and so was their room. A loud thud crashed below me, so I decided to chase it. It almost sounded like my parents were fighting, or someone was breaking in. The basement door was wide open, and I felt an inviting urge to go in. I knew I shouldn't, but it was calling me. I walked a step down, and saw Jason almost stuck to the wall, and Pete just sat there in front of him, legs crossed, red and white candles scattered everywhere, and what I now assume was an Ouija board. The stairs from the basement creaked under my feet, and Jason fell to the floor. All the candles blew out. It felt like something, was surrounding me. The air got dense, and almost freezing. I yanked the plug to turn on the light, and Pete ran to Jason, to check if he was okay while still screaming at me, at the same freaking time. "Go to your room," he shouted. I was terrified, and so I did, but I couldn't sleep, so I just laid there the whole night, trying to figure out what I saw, watching the sun slowly rise over the forest's trees. My dad spoke to me the next morning, and told me that they were practicing a magic trick, and that it was a surprise for me, and so that the reason that they yelled at me was because I had ruined the surprise. I wanted to believe that, but it just felt so strange. To my knowledge, nothing happened after that, until now. I'm currently 22 years old, and living in my own apartment, about 30 minutes from my parents' house. Ever since that night, I've been sleeping terribly. I'll wake up in the middle of the night for no reason. I also started sleepwalking and sleep talking, and in my waking hours, I'll feel drained and like I have no energy. I set up my phone camera facing my bed to show my doctor my sleep troubles, and when I reviewed the footage, there was nothing. I tried it again the next night, and the recording showed me sleeping as normal. I suddenly ripped the bedding off of myself and launched it across the room. And my phone camera was on and recording. Then it falls over and the footage cuts off. I watched this over and over again for several hours. Then I slowed it down to see me fly up, back to the wall, arms out, just like my dad was that one night, and I recall seeing a very, very faint, almost invisible, creepy creature-looking thing staring right into the camera just as it fell. I was too shocked to watch again, or even do anything. I just sat there. A knock on the door startled me, and I ran to get it. It was my dad, Jason, but something was off about him. He never randomly shows up, especially alone. He kept asking if he can come in, rather than just walking in, and seemed annoyed when I replied with a nod, or sure. I asked him why he's just standing there, and told him that he can come in. A smile lit his face, and he thanked me. He apologized for showing up without notice, and told me that him and Pete, who was my other parent, got into an argument, and asked if he could spend the night at my house, so I agreed. He is my dad after all. I offered him my bed, and said I'll take the couch. A few hours pass. It's now 12 minutes past 10, and it sounds like he's jumping around in my room. It suddenly stopped, and he started calling my name. I shouted back, but no answer. He then growls my name, this time in a scratchy, deep tone. An uncomfortable feeling overwhelmed me, but I figure he's probably mad. I didn't go up to him at the first call. Halfway up the stairs, Pete starts calling and blowing up my phone. I'll just ring him back later, I thought. The overwhelming feeling was getting worse, while I take every step closer to almost reaching my room. But my doorbell rang a few seconds later, and I remember asking myself, who would be here at this time? I went back down the half flight of stairs, and opened the door. It's Pete and Jason. "Dads, how are you here? I thought you were upstairs," I asked. They both barged past me, and ran to my room. Nothing and no one was there, just my plain old room. I checked my phone, and had received 3 messages. "Zach, where are you?" the first text message said. "That is not your dad," the second message read. "Please answer, Zach. Don't let him in."
Thank you all so much for watching and especially listening to this short, yet incredible story. Please like the video if you found it interesting, and subscribe to the channel for more scary and spectacular true stories and events. It really means the world, and plus, it helps the channel grow. Until next time, happy tale telling and listening.